There's a deep strength in silence, a quiet confidence that doesn't beg to be seen or understood. When you stop telling everyone your plans, something shifts inside you. You begin to feel grounded, calm, focused. You stop living for validation, and you start moving for meaning. You don't need to explain your every idea, dream, or decision. Not everyone deserves access to what's still growing inside you. Some things are meant to be protected, not displayed. Because the more you talk about your plans, the more energy you lose defending them. Every time you explain yourself, you give a small piece of your power away. When you share too soon, you invite noise, opinions, doubts, comparisons, and fears that were never yours to carry. People will project their insecurities onto your goals. They'll say things like, "That's risky," or "Are you sure?" And suddenly, you'll start questioning yourself too. But when you choose silence, you stay connected to your vision. You're no longer building for attention. You're building for purpose. No pressure, no expectations, just quiet growth. You don't need the world to clap for you at the beginning. You'll let your results do the talking when it's time. Silence gives you focus. It teaches you discipline, to hold your excitement, to nurture your goals in peace. You learn to move in private, not to hide, but to protect your energy. Because once too many people know your direction, you start to feel watched. And when you feel watched, you start performing instead of progressing. You start wondering how things look instead of how they feel. You start rushing to show progress instead of taking time to grow roots. But silence removes that pressure. It gives you back control. It lets your goals unfold naturally, without noise, without eyes, without judgment. Silence also builds mystery, and mystery builds strength. People can't interfere with what they don't understand. They can't sabotage what they can't see, and they can't copy what they don't know exists. That's the power of silence. It's protection disguised as calm. It's your shield against distraction, envy, and noise. You learn that you don't owe the world a preview. You owe yourself peace, patience, and progress in private. You stop chasing the need to be understood. You stop explaining why you're changing, healing, or growing. You just do it. Quietly, consistently, powerfully. And then one day, your silence breaks. Not with words, but with results. Your actions speak louder than every announcement you could have made. And that's when people finally understand. You weren't being secretive. You were being wise. You were protecting your peace and your power. Every time you open up about a plan, a goal, or a dream too soon, you give away a little bit of your energy. It feels harmless at first. You're excited. You want to share. You want people to understand what you're building. But the moment those words leave your mouth, the energy behind them changes. Now it's not just your vision anymore. It's exposed to other people's thoughts, fears, and projections. Not everyone will receive your plans with pure intentions. Some will listen just to compare. Some will listen to doubt. And some, quietly, will hope it doesn't work out for you. Because your growth reminds them of what they're not doing. That's not your fault. But it's something you must protect yourself from. When you tell too many people what you're doing, you create pressure. Suddenly, it's not just your journey. It's a performance. You start feeling watched. You start worrying about expectations. You start to feel like you're on stage, waiting for applause that never comes. That pressure can make you second-guess yourself, lose focus, or even give up before you begin. Words have power, but they also release power. Every time you speak about what you will do, Your brain feels a false sense of completion. You get a quick rush of validation just from talking about it. And that rush can trick you into feeling like you've already made progress. The more you talk, the less drive you feel to actually do. Sharing too much also opens the door to doubt. Someone's offhand comment, "Are you sure that'll work?" can echo in your head for days. Their disbelief becomes a shadow following your every step. You start to wonder if maybe they're right. And just like that, your excitement fades, replaced by hesitation. There's another kind of drain too, emotional energy. Explaining your goals takes energy. Defending your dreams takes even more. You begin spending your energy convincing people instead of creating results. And the truth is, most people don't need to understand your plan to see your success later. When you talk too much about what you're building, you also attract distractions. People start asking for updates. They start giving advice you didn't ask for. They start inserting their own fears into your process. And suddenly, what used to feel peaceful starts to feel noisy. The constant talking, explaining, and defending slowly pulls you away from the quiet work that actually matters. It drains your focus. It scatters your energy. It keeps you in a loop of talking instead of doing. That's why privacy isn't secrecy. It's protection. Protect your dreams the way you'd protect a fire in the wind. Keep it covered, shielded, and fed with your focus. Don't let careless words or outside energy blow it out before it burns bright. You'll notice the difference. The less you share, the lighter you feel. The quieter you become, the more power you regain. Because your energy flows where your attention stays. And when your attention is no longer divided between what you're doing and what others think, you start to grow faster, clearer, and stronger. The truth is simple. Every plan has a fragile beginning. Too many opinions can crush it before it learns to stand. So protect it. Nurture it in silence. Let your peace be the soil, your focus the sunlight, your patience the water. And when the time is right, let your results bloom, effortlessly, beautifully, without ever having to explain how you did it. Privacy isn't about isolation. It's about protection. It's the invisible boundary that keeps your energy from being pulled in 100 directions. When you move in silence, you take back control of your focus. You stop wasting energy on defending your path. And you start using that energy to actually walk it. When your plans are private, they stay pure. No opinions, no interference, no noise. It's just you and the work. You can listen to your own instincts without being clouded by anyone else's fears or judgments. You can make mistakes quietly, learn from them, and adjust without pressure or embarrassment. Privacy creates power because it keeps your energy contained. Think of it like a flame, small, steady, growing. If you expose it too early, the wind of other people's opinions can blow it out. But when you keep it shielded, it burns hotter, stronger, brighter. You'll start to notice something. When you stop oversharing, your mind gets quieter. You stop replaying conversations in your head. You stop wondering what people think of your choices. You stop explaining your growth to those who never understood your pain. And in that quiet, peace begins to return. You wake up lighter. You move with intention. You work without needing permission. Your focus sharpens because you're no longer performing your progress. You're simply living it. Privacy also protects your confidence. When no one knows your every step, failure doesn't feel like exposure. It feels like learning. You don't have to recover in public. You can rebuild in silence, stronger and smarter. And when you rise again, No one will know how many nights it took, only that you didn't give up. There's a deep kind of confidence that grows in private. It's not loud or showy. It doesn't seek validation. It simply exists, grounded, sure, untouchable. That's the kind of energy that draws peace instead of chaos. Because when you live quietly, you live intentionally. You stop leaking energy through endless explanations. You stop chasing attention that doesn't feed your spirit. You stop trying to be understood by people who were never meant to understand you. Privacy gives you freedom to move, to change, to grow without judgment. It allows you to protect your ideas while they're still fragile. It helps you stay aligned with your purpose instead of getting lost in noise. It reminds you that the most powerful things in life, healing, growth, transformation, all happen in silence. The seed doesn't announce itself before it becomes a tree. The cocoon doesn't advertise before it becomes a butterfly. And you don't need to announce your next move before it becomes your next level. That's the energy of privacy. It's the space where peace lives, the silence where strength builds, and the stillness where your true power awakens. Silence doesn't mean you have to shut the world out completely. It means you learn the difference between what's sacred and what's meant to be seen. Not every plan needs to be a secret, but not every thought deserves an audience either. Wisdom is knowing when to speak and when to protect your words. Share when something is real, not just when it's exciting. When the idea has roots, not just wings. Because ideas are fragile in the beginning, and the wrong energy can crush them. But once they're grounded in action, they can stand on their own. Share with people who have earned the right to hear you. Not with everyone who happens to ask. Some people listen to understand. Others listen to gossip. Some will hold your dreams like glass, carefully and respectfully. Others will hold them like stones, ready to throw them back at you. Learn to tell the difference. Ask yourself before you speak. Will this person support me or drain me? Do they inspire peace or do they plant doubt? If the answer doesn't feel good in your body, stay quiet. You don't need to prove your plans for them to be valid. You don't need to show your progress for it to be real. The right people will respect your privacy and cheer for your peace, even if they don't know the details. It's also okay to share after you've done the work. When you've built something solid, when your actions have already spoken, then you can talk. At that point, it's not a wish, it's a result. You're not seeking approval, you're celebrating growth. But in the beginning, silence is your armor. It keeps you from losing focus in conversations that don't deserve your energy. It keeps you from explaining yourself to people who will never understand your why. It keeps you centered when the world tries to pull you off track. If it costs you peace, it's too expensive to share. If it opens you up to unnecessary doubt, it's not worth saying. If it makes you feel drained after the conversation, that's your signal. Stop giving that kind of access. Some truths are meant to stay between you and your journey. Some blessings grow best in the dark, and some transformations can only happen when no one else is watching. So, speak less. Move quietly. Build privately. Let the noise fade behind you. Because in silence, you find clarity. In privacy, you find strength. And when it's time, when your work is ready, when your energy is steady, when your results speak, you won't need to announce anything. The world will simply see it. There's a special kind of peace that only comes when you stop needing to be seen. When you stop announcing every step, every plan, every small victory. You start to breathe differently. You feel lighter, calmer, more focused, because suddenly You're no longer living under the eyes of others. You're living for yourself. Being unseen means no one's tracking your progress or timing your success. You're free from the invisible pressure to prove that you're doing something great. You no longer carry the weight of people's expectations on your shoulders. You don't have to rush to look successful. You can become successful in your own quiet way. When you're unseen, your pace belongs to you. You can slow down without guilt. You can pause without explanation. You can make mistakes without fear of judgment. You can restart without feeling like you've failed in public. You stop performing progress for an audience that was never really paying attention. You stop chasing validation from people who don't even understand your journey. You stop living as if someone is keeping score. And in that silence, something magical happens. You rediscover peace. You start to notice how much energy you used to waste trying to be understood, trying to explain yourself, trying to prove your worth. You start realizing how draining it was to live under constant observation, even from people who meant well. And now, without that noise, your thoughts get clearer. Your goals feel cleaner. Your energy feels whole again. Being unseen gives you space to experiment, to try new things, to fail quietly, to rebuild without gossip or opinions. It allows you to transform privately, away from the noise of comparison. It gives you permission to evolve without defending every version of yourself. When you're unseen, you become unpredictable, and that's power. No one can guess your next move. No one can interfere with what they don't know. You move on your own terms, in your own timing. And people can only see the outcome, not the process. Freedom lives in that space. In the space where no one is watching, and you don't have to perform. You don't have to justify your silence. You don't have to explain your growth. You just become. You start to love the quiet. You start to value peace over presence, progress over posting, purpose over performance. You stop rushing to be noticed because you realize the real work was never meant to be seen. In the unseen, your creativity flows again. Your intuition strengthens. Your motivation feels purer, not fueled by applause, but by alignment. You start doing things for the right reasons, because they matter to you, not because they'll be seen by others. And that's the secret. When you no longer need to be seen, you become unstoppable. You move in silence, grounded and sure. You grow without noise, without proof, without pressure. You stop chasing the light and become it. So embrace the unseen season. It's not punishment. It's preparation. It's not loneliness. It's alignment. It's not hiding. It's healing. Because sometimes disappearing from the crowd is exactly what helps you return to yourself. That's the freedom that comes from being unseen. You no longer live for the world's eyes. You live for your own peace. There's something deeply satisfying about letting your results do the talking. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth when your work speaks for itself. You don't have to prove that you've changed. People will see it in your calm, your discipline, your energy. You don't have to defend your dreams, because one day, your reality will be the proof. When you stop explaining, you stop wasting energy on words that don't move you forward. You take that same energy and pour it into your actions. Every quiet hour, every small decision, every private effort builds into something powerful. And by the time people notice, it's already done. It's already real. Talking feeds the ego, but doing feeds the vision. The world doesn't remember promises, it remembers proof. You don't need to announce that you're evolving. Your peace will make it obvious. You don't need to broadcast that you're working on something big. Your growth will reveal it in time. Letting results speak for you builds a quiet confidence. because you're no longer chasing applause. You're earning respect. You don't need external validation to keep going. You move with purpose, not pressure. You act with patience, not performance. Results silence critics faster than arguments ever could. You don't have to clap back or explain your side. You just show up, stay consistent, and let time reveal everything that words never could. And when people finally see what you've built, they'll understand. You weren't being secretive. You were being focused. This kind of discipline changes how you move. You start valuing the process over the attention. You start trusting time instead of rushing it. You stop trying to look successful and start actually being successful. Quietly, intentionally, powerfully. And the best part? You'll learn that success feels better when it's honest, when it's not staged or forced or shared before it's ready. It feels real because you earned it privately. No shortcuts, no performance, just work, growth, and faith. Your silence becomes your edge. Your results become your voice. Your peace becomes your presence. And your journey becomes the proof that you never needed to explain yourself, only to stay true to your path. So let them wonder what you're up to. Let them talk while you work. Let them question your silence. Because when your results finally speak, they'll say everything you never had to. That's the power of quiet success. It doesn't need attention. It commands respect. Protect your peace like it's something sacred, because it is. Your peace is not a luxury. It's your foundation. It's the quiet space inside you that keeps you balanced when the world gets loud. And the more you protect it, the clearer your path becomes. You don't owe anyone updates on your healing, your progress, or your plans. You don't have to explain why you're moving differently, why you're distant, or why you're quieter than before. You're not being cold. You're being careful. You're not shutting people out. You're keeping your energy safe. Every season of growth demands a level of silence. It's the silence where you rebuild your focus. It's where you hear your own intuition again. It's where you stop chasing validation and start trusting yourself. Peace is the reward for choosing privacy over attention. Because when you stop performing for others, you begin living for yourself. You move slower but stronger. You think clearer, love deeper, and work more intentionally. And your confidence begins to come from within, not from applause. Let people wonder. Let them guess. Let them talk. You don't need to defend your choices or justify your silence. You're allowed to grow quietly. You're allowed to protect what you're creating. You're allowed to keep your joy private. When the time is right, your results will speak louder than any announcement ever could. You won't need to explain how you did it or why you disappeared for a while. Your peace will show. Your progress will show. Your glow will speak for itself. So protect your energy like it's gold. Protect your dreams like they're fragile. Protect your peace like your life depends on it. Because it does. Move quietly. Work in silence. Let your calm be your message. And when you finally rise, let your success be the only sound they hear.